35 million, but they are telling you that it is 40, it is 50, it is 60, it is 65, because they are selling the refined product across the border. Now, let's also look at the price. Nigerian's price is less than $1 per liter. So Nigerian price compared to Saudi Arabia, that is the biggest producer, is 5% cheaper than Saudi Arabia's per liter, including their taxes. Ghana, we are 30% cheaper than Ghana, which is $1.3. We are 70% cheaper than Senegal and Cote d'Ivoire, which is 1.7, 1.8. So where is the argument? Where did tell me where Central World Bank found out that said that Nigeria has a higher retail price? From where? Which African country? Are you comparing us to America? America that subsidizes their product, that is self-sufficient? So the country says self-sufficiency in refining is our way forward. That is how we will rescue our country. Now, Dangote led that charge, got doubling his capacity. Somebody is involving more. Somebody is putting $50 billion more than Dangote in Ondo to refine. Bua is already ready with his 200,000 barrels. Then you have more modular refinery. You have another refinery in Lagos. So by the time you add all these capacities, there will be over 3 million barrels a day. Nigeria is only doing 1.7. So there will be twice Nigeria's capacity. So they are not being done for Nigeria. They are being done for the world to export power and energy from Nigeria. So how can somebody be advising you to the opposite when government has struggled now to say, okay, we are following our private sector. It is the way to go. Let's back them with policy. And somebody else is turning around to tell you, stop that, and then bring something. It's unbelievable. I think I just say it's unbelievable. I will never advise any of my member states in ECOWAS to do this. So we shouldn't expect that. That's why I'm totally unhappy. 90% of the report I love, because they always do that. If you look at this area like the human capital development, they do a report every year on human development index, which looks at what will happen to a child born today in 18 years time. So their recommendation on focusing on child education and all that is correct, because that is what we should do. And we are boarding last in that indices. If you go to UNDP Human Development Index, we're also boarding last there. So they are correct that we should do more to that. And when it comes to social safety net, I take exception, because don't advise this government to break its own law. The law says you can borrow money for capital expenditure and human resource development. It didn't say you should borrow money to share to people. It didn't say you should borrow money to pay salary, borrow money to repay loan. You don't. That law doesn't allow it. The law says, and the law says to development finance, it warns them, say any lending to Nigerian government outside this framework is unlawful. So I have fought this for the last 3 years now. Central World Bank has turned around last quarter, in this third quarter, to say it is correct. You can do more on social safety, but use your internally generated revenue. So don't come and tell us you are ready to help and that we should do more on safety net. So it means you want to lend us more money to go and share. Give us your grant, we will share that and we'll thank you. But don't tell us to borrow money and go against our own fiscal law.
I like the fact that, Prof, I like the fact that you talked about the safety net, because you just took it out of my mouth. I was about talking about the safety net and the how that serves Nigeria, basically, because you've talked about it not being, but in practical terms, can Nigeria effectively implement and sustain such safety net without leakages and corruption? Because corruption is on one side. And we also look at this, the safety net, is it really a solution or just a temporary baggage for deeper structural problems? Those are questions which you've also put across, talking about it doesn't solve some things, it's just a way. But you are saying, give us something better and not just provide such things. But let's turn our focus, Prof, quickly because of our time. On inflation and cost of living, fuel prices directly affect transport, food, and overall inflation. Would this recommendation not further worsen the cost of living crisis Nigeria already grappling with? Because, of course, we see that as a major concern for the citizens right now.
No, the thing is contrived. It shouldn't. Because we are the dominant producer of crude in Africa. We shouldn't. The problem is this. PIA law says priority to domestic crude obligation. Give it to them. It's an obligation. They said, no, they're not doing it. So what happens is that Dangote with his 700,000 barrels needs 20 shipload They give him only 5. And even at the 5 that the NNPC gives to them, they are still charging them extra $3 per barrel. Now they have to go through the back door to read to wholesalers that they sell the thing to go and market abroad and go and buy it from them at extra $8 to $18 per barrel extra. And now they come back to the same market to come and refine them and sell them. So they are forced to increase the price. And even if the price increased, when the crude price went up to 118, 200% increase, they only increased their price by about 25%. When it was a 26% increase in the world market price, they increased only by 12%. So they are very reluctant to increase the price. Very, very reluctant. Give them what the law says you should give them and see how they will protect the country. They will force down the price, and then they will export the more or less to bring more dollar into the economy. That is a contrivance. It's NNPC that's doing this, nobody else. And then supported by NMDPRA. That's the reality. So it is contrived. We have no problem with poverty of fuel caused by fuel because we have it. We have the refining capacity. You cannot. Okay, if Dangote has to go out to import, they will now face all these high import costs, shipping costs, then insurance. But if he's taking it from here, he doesn't need all that cost, and he gives us more. So that is the point. It's a contrivance. It's not real.
Well, clearly, sir, Prof, let's look at this. With all this debate over time, we've seen that from what you've also given us, liberalization, we look at it, is it an opportunity or an economic gamble? The fall in importation, should it be a short-term fix or long-term dependency? Social safety nets as well, that's like is mentioned. We look at the solution or the illusion. From your perspective, in conclusion, basically, give us the way forward. What should stand that works? Clearly, puts now this debate from what the recommendations given by the bank and what you think should play better.
The social safety net is a good idea because you cannot neglect those who are most vulnerable while you are articulating your high-end, high convoluted, but you must take good little care. But that is not a prescription for sustainability, economic sustainability, but it is a temporary measure to cushion poverty. So you should have that, but use your internally generated revenue. For goodness sake, the law does not allow you to go and borrow money to do that. Let World Bank give you their grant. They have lots of grants in billions. Give it to us to share. Then government cut your coat according to your side. Take substantial volume of your internal generated revenue and do that. That is the argument. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. You should do it. But you shouldn't go and borrow money to do that. The law doesn't allow. And let me tell you something. The law says capital expenditure. When you look at our budget, if the budget for borrowing is higher than the budget for capital expenditure, then you are borrowing money to pay salaries. You are borrowing money to share. Your borrowing should be less than the investment in capital expenditure. That is what tells us that, oh, you are borrowing for capital expenditure. That's the fundamental flaw in the economy. And that is why we ran into this big trouble end of last year, where we are owing 3 year, we have 3-year budget running concurrently. It is all because of the same problem. But then the way to solve them, the systemic way to solve them is to develop capacity, local refining capacity, local economic sovereignty, local processing capacity, local value addition capacity, so that you can contain the problem of import dependence. That is the sustainable way to do it. You can now create jobs. You can now create lower poverty. But you're not doing it. You're exporting raw material, exporting your jobs, and you're importing poverty. That explains the dichotomy between good growth, important macroeconomic indicators, but you have poverty increasing. You have unemployment increasing. That is what tells you the reason why you're having that.
Thank you so much, Prof, for your time. You've really done justice to this, and we see that your recommendations as well is also looking at it, that this debate will also look for a better level playing field that when it will cushion the effects or the hardship effects on Nigerians. Thank you so much for your time. We've been speaking with Professor Ken Ife. He's one of the directors of Duvel Global Consulting, and like he mentioned, he's worked with the ECOWAS. He's worked for a long time, good enough time to be able to talk to us on policies like this. Thank you so much for your time, Prof. We look forward to more engagement and how policies on the economy can stand tall and give Nigeria a better level playing field without hardship being felt so much. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for your deep understanding. Thank you.
Okay, amazing. Well, we've had Mukhtar, we've had Prof speak to us on all of these issues. Well, clearly the debate over Nigeria's fuel policy is far from settled. While reforms may be necessary, the big question remains, whose interests do we truly serve?
Certainly.
And at what cost do the average Nigerians have to pay this price or benefits in the long run?
One thing I like about Prof's analysis is he was not overly critical of the report. They're just loopholes that he picked. So it's not as if you're not throwing away the baby alongside the bathwater. It's just for you to say this is what we need to fix. And basically, if those recommendations are followed, I think we'll be home and dry, basically.
All right. Well, that brings us to the size on this discussion segment. Up next is our next discussion. Please stay with us.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
Watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
In an age of breaking news, you need a trusted source that prioritizes accurate, factual, and unbiased reporting. This is AM News, and I am Ubong Usoro.
On Global Television, our news is rooted in verified and authoritative storytelling that keeps you educated, informed, and enlightened on all the issues that matter to you. I am Sadia Yakubu. This is Midday News.
You can trust a multi-platform news broadcast, real-time and fast-check stories for all the big local and foreign headlines round the clock. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. This is News Express.
Our array of anchors delivers the news to our teeming viewers, breaking it down with context and perspective. This is News Cycle on Global Television. I am Anieti Patrick.
And the flagship news is your hub for the day's most engaging stories. This is News Prime, and I am Jumai Manson.
Did you miss any of our news rounds? No worries. Catch up at 10 p.m. and midnight, 7 days of the week. I am Mukhtar Kasim.
Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. We're active across all social media platforms at Global TV NG.
Global TV News, accurate and unbiased. I'm Uyi Agmofwebe.
Well, what's the case? Every sector in the political scene. What's the way forward? How are we building up to 2027? Is it going to be a consolidation? You know, all those concerns are being raised. And what are the measures put in place to see that Nigeria enjoy all of that balance across the different fields? Welcome to this particular segment of the program where we'll bring you headlines and in-depth conversations shaping our nation and the world. Well, today we'll turn our attention to a critical national question ahead of 2027. Well, that talks about politics. Are we just looking at politics, or is it beyond the politics? So the question is asked, can national consolidation shape 2027? And I won't be doing this alone, but let's break it down. Let's give you to the home front. Let's guide you through. As political alignments begin to shape across Nigeria, conversations around unity, trust, governance, and national interests are becoming more urgent than ever before. And we look at where Nigerians are asking, can Nigeria truly consolidate its democratic gains beyond party lines and regional interests? Or will politics as usual define the road to 2027? Those are questions begging for answers. And of course, Nigerians are looking forward to getting positive answers. Well, joining me to talk about this, I have two amazing guests with me in the studio. I have the Director General and Convener of Integrity Group of Nigeria, in person of Dr. Oke Idawene. It's good to have you join me in the program today.
Yeah, it's good to have you here to Global TV. God bless you. God bless the world.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
We look forward to always seeing your face all the time. And of course, sitting next to him is the National Publicity Secretary of the same Integrity Group of Nigeria. I beg your pardon there, in person of Honorable Latifat Issa. It's good to have you join us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, so I know that there's a whole lot we look forward to on this part of the discussion. I know you have some symposium going on, but let's come down to what led to that and what we should be looking forward to 2027. Well, let me start with Dr. Idawene. When we talk about national consolidation, there's a lot of questions asking, are we consolidating on the gains? What exactly does that mean in the context of Nigeria current political landscape? Because there's a lot of alignment and realignment happening in the political space in the build up to 2027. Let me get your opinion on that, please.
Yeah, thank you for this wonderful and beautiful question. Now, talking about national consolidation, you didn't finish the theme. We went for that to say 2027 Aso Rock, no vacancy. Now, the renewed hope agenda is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's brainchild.
Yes.
It's all about coming into governance and coming with a blueprint, a policy, a projection to say that by 2030 we should have an economy of $1 trillion in Nigeria. From the word go, it hit the ground running by ensuring that the corruption in the oil sector was checkmated. Today, the subsidy remover has made the governors have so much money to give out democratic dividends at the local level, at the state level. The local government chairman has direct access to funds now to also give the local people, which is the essence of governance, the democratic dividends. Now, taking it again, we look at it that all spheres of the economy, he is trying to revamp, reinvigorate, and give it intentional leadership to the extent that what we have today, you can imagine that every governor is telling you there is money to use at the state level. Also, our foreign reserve has grown. As we speak, there are other policies under the renewed hope agenda that made us sit down from the farmers' end to the student loans, to the corpus loans, to the economy. If not for this immediate disruption of Iran, Israel, and America, deliberately after removing the first subsidy, the naira was being stabilized, and things were not coming down, foods were coming down, until recently, when this happened, and skyrocketed the price of goods and services in Nigeria. Before then, inflation has nosedived to 15%. But today, after this war, which we have had ceasefire now, and we expect it not to affect us anymore. Only yesterday, President was in Yenagoa. He was telling the world that it is hitting you hard, hitting us hard. But go to India, go to Kenya, go to South Africa, other places. It is worse off for them. However, we are doing all we can to ensure we get better, but this war will come to an end. The policies of the Renewed Hope agenda will continue for that framework that we're doing to ensure that Nigeria is on the right path. He took Nigeria from coma to revival. Revival now is not treating all the ailments being diagnosed as a medical doctor he is politically on the Nigerian state that has been sick before he became president. So I want us to, it is that particular thing that the technical people have seen. We are New Hope agenda ambassadors. I would say no, consolidation is required. Let us stand and support these wonderful policies of the New Hope agenda and initiative, so that we can as well tell Nigerians that don't understand, because there are a lot of emotions, blackmail, and etc. on air, where people they will speak on just trying to whip sentiments from the lives of the opposition. So these are part of what we are gathering tomorrow on Monday 13th. We're going to tell the world, rail out what the man has done, what he's doing, what we do, why we should allow him to lead to 2031, so that at the end of his tenures, please, tenures and not tenure, we cannot have a better one Nigeria. And the unity in Nigeria now is better, because right now the entire party, the entire country is in APC. 31 governors and still counting, where we have a convention of consensus from world level to LGA level to state level to national level, and today we have a party in unity, and without unity and peace there can be no progress. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, your strategies, I give it to you. Kudos.
Okay, Dr. Idahoene, thank you for giving us that guide, but some Nigerians will better differ. Because the grassroots, the underserved communities have had their own challenges, and they're looking for a way forward. I like the fact that you mentioned unity. Let me throw it to Honorable Latifat, and then from your political communication standpoint, do you think Nigerians are more united in national interests today, or are they still divided along the political and ethnic lines? Because issues are being raised. Here, he's talked about the brainchild of the president, which is the Renewed Hope agenda, and there is the symposium you're putting out to say strategizing for national consolidation 2027 at Surok.
No vacancy, no apology.
So, do you think at this standpoint that the political and ethnic lines are aligning to your perception?
Yes, to a very large extent. I will say that Nigerians are united in this common front. We are saying that we understand that there are hardships. We understand that the economy right now is beginning to stabilize, and we want to support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to carry on the good work that he's been doing. But of course, there are pockets of noise here and there. There are some minority groups clamoring for power shift, saying it is their own turn, and they, of course, are aligning towards the ethnic. But we're saying in Nigeria currently, there is unity. You will see that the larger society is supporting President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and that's all that we need at this point in our national life. We do not need to be set back, because any alteration in what is currently going on now will set us back 10 years behind, and we do not want that. Forward ever, 2031, no vacancy in Aso Rock. It is fully occupied, and we're pushing the nation to the right direction, and Nigeria will be great again.
Okay, so I like the fact that you said you're pushing the nation. I'm going to come back to Dr. Idahoene. You mentioned some key points that APC is now Nigeria, kind of the concept with the governors and all that. But there's a growing argument that Nigeria's political survival does not depend only on just elections, but on trust building institutions and cross-party collaborations. You know, that's one concern that the argument takes up. So in your take, you're pushing for this. Do you see the integrity-driven politics realistic in our current environment, or is it still just an aspiration? Because you're saying tenors not just one tenor?
Tenors are not tenor. Why I say this, let me come back to you now. What I'm saying is that the integrity of Mr. President, we are Integrity Group, and that's why we're with him. Our slogan is Integrity Group supporting good governance.
Okay.
Now, having said so, it is the president who retired a general and made him Minister for Defense. In the history of Nigerian politics, this has never happened. Why? Because he listens. He follows good leadership and tenacity, optimum performance in whatever he's doing. Now, he also is a president who has now established North Central Development Commission, Northeast, Northwest, South-South, Southeast, and Southwest. Why? He's technically giving us true federalism, technically restructuring this country so that we can have equal development in this region. Now, a president that has said, look, IGP, go. Let me bring in somebody that believes in state police so that we can have enough security for Nigerians. Because when a sheriff spends 30 years as a state police in Olumoro, where I come from, and I have the state police in my local government in my town, and he's worked for 30 years, a child born today, he knows the child from cradle to adulthood. So if he commits a crime, if he sees your palm, he knows that's okay, that when I committed this crime. Language barrier is there. So the man that is ensuring to secure the nation, on a solemn note, before I continue, commiseration to all those that lost their lives in just crisis and every other attack that has come. But like the president said, it will never happen again. Inshallah, by the grace of God, with technical support from the American government, French government, and whatever you want to think of. And you know that security is a work of you and I. So this man has integrity. This man has given the country a better image. Recently, he was in UK. He saw what happened. No president has gotten what he has gotten in the issue of Nigerian policy. Okay, so if he is not valid, the international world will not recognize President Bola Ahmed Tinubu today. So we're using the international world to mirror what we have. Maybe you may think that I love him. That is why I'm saying this. No, I love Nigeria. We love Nigeria. We are pan-Nigerians, and that is why we are saying that. Look, instead of allowing lives to be, this man has integrity. What he's done, he has a blueprint, he has a new hope agenda policies. Let us allow him 2030, $1 trillion economy will come. Every other thing will fall in place. Nigeria must get better under this position. The unity again, you talked about the party issue. We're going where Nigeria, the APC is a micro Nigeria now. If APC sneezes, Nigeria sneezes. Because when you have almost the entire states as APC states, then you have nothing short in governance, in leadership. So what we're not saying is that for the first time in the history of Nigeria again, you have a party that has 31 governors that have come together and say, look, we are towing this line. We did the election, we did consensus in the election. And if we are not united, that is micro Nigeria. If APC is united, Nigeria is united. That is why what we expect in the election, you will expect an election of true consolidation. That's why we are beginning with consolidating consolidation in Nigerian progress, and we must sustain the vision of democracy under this beautiful government.
Okay, I like the way you talk and with so much passion, so much energy, speaking to these issues and wanting to pass the message that there's no vacancy, basically, from your talk. But let's look at the side of political parties. Political are already positioning for 2027. There's a lot of permutations here and there. Like I said, alignments and realignments, talking about the issues. And one would want to ask, how do you balance party loyalty as well with the need for the national cohesion? Because you mentioned that the president has created the Southeast, what's it called? The Commission, the South, and all that. How effective have the people felt these commissions that have been created? Have they begun to feel the impact of these commissions created? And so we can find that balance for a national cohesion build up to 2027.
Now, I want to, like I've always, I likened the president to a medical doctor, a surgeon, whom a patient was brought to him as in coma. Nigeria was given to him in coma. What the doctor will do first is to revive the person from coma. The person here is a Nigerian state, and the president has been able to revive the the patient from coma. Now, what we have now is he has diagnosed all the ailments that made the person to go into coma, which is Nigerian state. So he is now applying medication. All the development commission that have been established are medication to have even development on the regions. So what you have now is the medication is being applied. The medical doctor will not be judged until he comes out of the theater. It's cutting off what is not needed, sewing what is needed, technically in Nigeria state. So bringing on development commission, being established, people have been employed there. There are duties of such commissions. There are commissioners, federal commissioners on such commissions, creating the environment for us to kickstart, and monies have been appointed, allocated to these commissions to work. And I understand that in sooner than later, they will hit the ground running and developing all regions in the country. So Nigerians should wait. The medical doctor is still in the theater. When he comes out, the patient will start running and say, look, I can eat, I can walk, I am hale and happy. That's exactly what it is. So that's why he said, give me time to consolidate, to treat these ailments as I'm treating them. You and I will be healthy tomorrow. So Nigeria state will be a beautiful state and a wonderful state. So that's why I say that still give this development commission time to start developing the regions. Everything is one step at a time. If you carry your 2 legs at a time, you will fall. Nigeria will not fall again. Coma will never go to again. What we have is to come out of the theater and we are shining and glowing. So thank you, Dr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
All right, let me get back to Honorable Das, the National Public Secretary. Let's talk about the realities, basically. There's an appetite within party structures for national consolidation, or is it that there's still campaign rhetorics? Those are questions asking for answers. I don't know if you understand what I just asked you.
No.
Okay, so basically I'm saying there is a real appetite within political structures for national consolidation, because you're looking for consolidation going into 2027. Or would you say it's just still campaign rhetorics? That's what it looks like basically right now.
Well, within our party, the All Progressive Congress, which is of course the largest political party, not just in Nigeria, in the whole of Africa for now, we're consolidating on what is on ground. So it's not a time to start campaigning or going about rhetorics. It is a time to consolidate on what has been built, what is on ground, and we're trying to do more at this point, because you can't just end a football match. You can't quit a football match when it is still on. So you have to continue. And then this administration has been doing fantastically well. We understand that there are challenges. There are still some aspects of the economy that are still begging for answers, that are still also looking for the touch, and it's ongoing. So we have the infrastructural developments currently. We have the power. The president has recently just approved payments for electricity, the backlogs that is being owed. So it means that GenCos can go back to generating electricity. The 2023 Electricity Act, as amended right now, currently gives states the power to generate, distribute, and transmit their own electricity. So it means that every state can now generate their own electricity and provide electricity for their people. Take, for instance, Abia State. The governor is doing fantastically well. My state is Kogi. When we're talking about nation building, it is not just about party affairs. So we're talking about the Nigerian state. So in my own state, Kogi State, where I'm from, the governor is currently doing very well. There's an electricity regulatory commission that has been set up. They just celebrated their 1 year a few months ago, and there are companies already on ground that are ready to provide electricity for the citizens, because there are lots of underserved areas within the states. And if you know, Kogi State is like a gateway to Nigeria, because it's like the state between the north and the south of the country.
All right. Okay. So I like what you put out because like I wanted to get that balance, because I always say democracy has to be an all-encompassing way of finding a balance for the people to enjoy the dividends of democracy. And of course, let's look at what should be, as we round up, because we don't have that time again, we're looking at indicators, what key indicators Nigerians should be looking forward to as they move up or watch out for to 2027. And those of issues raised in the country are looking at consolidating politically and socially, which is one of the things you raised, electoral reforms, governance performance, youth inclusion, or is it elite consensus? Because we see the elite class coming out to pick up forms now saying they're interested in going to 2027. All those things are part of it. But as we wrap up this, let me just show this, but you have to be very brief for my time. In one sentence, how can Nigeria get it right? That's the basic thing, to 2027, to ensure that beyond politics, there's national consolidation and it becomes the reality rather than rhetoric. I'm showing that to Dr. Okay.
Well, before I say that, I know your time is gone.
Yeah.
But you see, apart from the Kogi and the Abia you mentioned, Delta State just signed an agreement for independent power supply. Bayelsa commissioned their own by the president yesterday.
Yes.
And removing the electricity from citizens of the president has given to make you understand that President Bola Ahmed will mean well for Nigeria. Expect more light, expect good roads, expect good leadership and democratic dividends as we move forward.
Okay.
God bless Bola Ahmed Tinubu. God bless Nigeria. God bless Global TV.
Thank you so much for your time. We look forward to seeing all of this play out in 2027. Thank you so much for your time. I've been speaking to this amazing guest of my in person of Dr. Oke Idawene and Honorable Latifa Issa. They are from the Integrity Group who are setting up to look at a symposium in where they can consolidate the gains of democracy ahead of the 2027, and that's where we'll leave it today. Thank you so much for your time with us on Global Morning.
Thank you for having us.
All right, amazing. Well, that's the size of it on Global Morning. We told you we had a whole lot lined up for you, and I'm sure you had an amazing time with us. Myself and Mukhtar Kasim, we brought to you lots of engagement, from the newspaper review segment to the taste and texture to the conversation around the onion value chain, where the farmers talk to us about how they're doing perfectly well, and also move to the economy, how there's a debate reform around all of those issues, talking about that as well. And of course, here we have consolidating on democracy. Thank you so much for staying with us. From Mukhtar and I am Anieti Patrick. Amazing day ahead of you.